Imagine a fight, not in a ring, not with a referee, the kind of fight that happens suddenly, in a dark alley, or a crowded bar. There are no rules here, no points, no bowing. Your opponent isn't following a script, he's just trying to hurt you. Fast. What if your training didn't rely on set patterns? What if it was built for exactly this chaos? This is the allure of amorphous combat, a way of fighting without a fixed shape. Think about most martial arts. They have stances, they have forms. You practice them thousands of times, muscle memory. This is good, it builds a foundation. But what happens when the attack doesn't fit your training? What if the situation is completely new, unexpected? An amorphous style suggests a different path. It whispers that true mastery isn't in knowing all the answers. It's in being able to find an answer, any answer, right now. It's about becoming the question mark, not the textbook. This idea can be unsettling for some. We like structure, we like knowing what comes next. Traditional arts offer that comfort. A clear path to black belt. Amorphous combat throws that away or does it. Perhaps it builds on top of structure. It takes the principles, the core ideas of combat, then it sets them free. Free from rigid sequences. So, what is this amorphous combat style really? It's not about learning 1,000 techniques, it's about understanding a few core principles. Principles of movement, balance, timing, deception. It's about how to generate power, how to break structure. It's less a style and more a meta-style. An approach to fighting that emphasizes fluidity. Like water, it takes the shape of its container. Or, in a fight, it adapts to the opponent and the environment. Traditional martial arts often have a defined curriculum. You learn block A, then strike B, then take down C. This is good for building a base, for discipline. Amorphous combat doesn't throw that away entirely. Many who explore it have a traditional background, but they seek something more, something less predictable. They want to break free from the patterns, because real attackers don't follow patterns you've practiced. They are chaotic. Your response needs to be adaptable to that chaos. Think of it like jazz music versus classical. Classical music has a precise score. The biggest strength? Unpredictability. Your opponent can't guess your next move, because you might not even know it yourself until you do it. This isn't random flailing. It's responsive. You see an opening, you take it, you feel pressure, you yield and redirect it. Most fighters train to recognize patterns. They look for the telltale signs of a specific punch or kick. An amorphous fighter aims to give no such signs, or to give misleading ones. This is a huge advantage. Adaptation is the other side of this coin. The world is not a dojo. The street is not a ring. Things change fast in a real confrontation. Someone grabs you. The ground is slippery. There are obstacles. A rigid style might struggle when its core techniques are negated. An amorphous approach thrives on change. It teaches you to use the environment, to use what's there, to turn disadvantages into advantages, or at least neutralize them. This mental flexibility is as important as physical skill. Think about how predators hunt in the wild. A lion doesn't use a kata to take down a zebra. It adapts its approach based on the terrain, the prey's movement. Section 4. Navigating the void, weaknesses and limitations. It's not all sunshine and rainbows, of course. An amorphous style has its downsides. Big ones. The most obvious is the lack of clear structure. How do you teach something that, by definition, has no fixed form? Beginners, especially, need structure. They need steps. They need to build a foundation of reliable movements. Just telling someone to be like water isn't very helpful. Not without a lot of context and foundational training. This makes it hard to learn and hard to teach effectively. Then there's the problem of quality control. In traditional arts, you have belts, you have lineage. These systems aren't perfect, but they offer some measure of skill. With an amorphous approach, how do you gauge progress? How do you know if what you're doing is effective or just messy? There's a real danger of deluding yourself, thinking you're being unpredictable when you're actually just being unskilled. Without a framework for testing, it's easy to go astray. This lack of standardization is a significant hurdle. Competition is another area where amorphous styles face challenges. Section 5. Forging instinct, training for the unpredictable. So how do you train for something that resists definition? You don't drill specific sequences endlessly, instead you drill attributes and principles. Things like balance disruption, exploiting lines of attack, managing distance, generating power from unconventional positions. The training often looks like controlled chaos. Scenario-based exercises are key, lots of them. You're put in awkward spots, ambushed, outnumbered, simulated of course. The goal is to force adaptation, to make improvisation a habit, not just a desperate last resort. Awareness training is paramount. This isn't just about seeing, it's about perceiving the whole environment, understanding proxemics, reading body language, recognizing pre-threat cues. This happens before any punch is thrown. Many drills focus on sensory input, training with eyes closed or in low light, training to respond to touch, to pressure. The idea is to develop an almost intuitive understanding of conflict dynamics, to feel the fight, not just think your way through it. This builds the instinct needed for amorphous responses. Improvisation drills are a core component. Think of it like sparring games with specific constraints or objectives. Maybe one person can only use open hands, or the fight starts from a seated position, or against multiple cooperative partners. These games break down ingrained patterns. They force you to find new solutions, to be creative under pressure. The emphasis is not on winning the drill, it's on exploring possibilities. Section 6. Echoes of the Ancients, Philosophical Roots of Formlessness. This idea of formlessness isn't entirely new. It has deep roots in ancient philosophies. Think about Taoism, for instance. The Tao Te Ching speaks of water. Water is fluid, soft, and yielding. But water will wear away rock. It emphasizes being adaptable, yielding to overcome. This is a core tenet of amorphous combat. Not meeting force with force directly, but redirecting it, blending with it, finding the path of least resistance. This philosophy permeates the mindset of the amorphous practitioner. Zen Buddhism also offers insights. The concept of mushin, or no mind. This doesn't mean an empty mind, devoid of thought. It means a mind not fixed or occupied by emotion or thought, a mind that is open and reactive to the present moment. When you're fighting, if your mind is stuck on what if he does X, or I must use technique Y, then you're not truly present. An amorphous approach requires this Zen-like presence, to see things as they are, to react spontaneously, without the filter of preconceived notions or rigid plans. These philosophies aren't just abstract ideas, they provide a practical framework for this combat approach. Section 7. Street Smarts and Survival Real-World Amorphous Combat. Where does this amorphous style truly shine? Not in the controlled environment of a sport competition, but in the unpredictable chaos of a real self-defense situation. On the street there are no rules, no weight classes, no referee to save you. Your attacker won't use techniques you've seen in a tournament. He might have a weapon. He might have friends. This is where adaptability and unpredictability become paramount. This is where an amorphous approach can mean the difference. The difference between going home and not going home. Think about it. Most real violence is sudden, messy. It doesn't look like a choreographed movie fight. It's often close quarters, clumsy, brutal. A rigid, form-based style might struggle to adapt quickly enough. If your go-to technique requires a specific distance or setup, what happens? What happens when you're grabbed from behind, or you slip? An amorphous fighter trains for these what-ifs. They train to find a solution, any solution from any position, even if it's not pretty, even if it's not traditional. Effectiveness is the only criterion that matters. This style is also highly relevant for de-escalation and escape. Because it's not just about fighting, it's about managing conflict. Awareness, a key part of amorphous training, helps you spot trouble early. To avoid the fight altogether, that's the best win. But if avoidance fails, the same adaptability applies. Maybe the goal isn't to defeat the attacker in a prolonged battle. Maybe it's to create an opening, a moment, to escape. An amorphous approach allows for this flexibility of goals. It's not tied to a win-at-all-costs mindset in the ring sense, but a survive-and-get-safe mindset in the real-world sense. Ultimately, amorphous combat is about reclaiming a natural way of moving.